Sony just announced physical game discs end in January of 2028, and the story underneath that headline is about ownership disappearing one product category at a time. A new study finds that people in their 80s who walk unusually fast have half the risk of cognitive decline, even when their brains show the same Alzheimer's pathology as everyone else. And new research confirms that good lies in a relationship damage trust about as often as selfish ones, and that the person telling the lie is almost always the one who decided it was good. This is News Side Quest, the show for people who want to know what else happened besides what everyone else is furious about. I'm Keith Conrad. Let's close out the week. Sony announced Wednesday that physical disc production for new PlayStation games will end in January 2028. After that date, new games will only be available through the PlayStation Store or at retailers in digital formats, which in practice means download codes and boxes, not discs. Sony says it's responding to shifting trends in consumer preference, noting that digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. Basically, the future involves owning nothing. Nearly 4 in 5 full game purchases for PlayStation 4 and 5 were made digitally in the past year, so on one level, this isn't totally a surprise. Sony is formalizing a reality that already exists for most players. But the implications for players who value physical ownership are significant. When you own a disc, you own that game. You can resell it, lend it, play it without an internet connection, and play it on future hardware as long as it's backwards compatible. When you own a digital license, you own access to a game on a platform. Access that can be revoked if the platform changes its terms, goes out of business, or simply decides a game is just not going to be available anymore. I, for example, use a program every single day that used to be a one-time purchase of about $250. It was expensive, but not horrible for a one-time purchase. Nowadays, you actually have to pay them a $50 monthly subscription. Over 2 years, that's $1,200 for something that used to cost $250 once. There's no way to spin that as a better deal for the consumer. The PlayStation Shift is gaming's version of the same transition, from owning a thing to basically renting access to it indefinitely at terms the seller completely controls. Sony is committing to still selling games at physical retailers even after they drop discs in 2028. Just how those games will be sold, in boxes with codes inside, as cards marked with digital redemption codes, is unclear. What is clear, though, is that the disc itself, or the object you could hold, resell, lend, or own, regardless of Sony's future decisions, is going away. What's something you used to own outright that you now effectively rent, and how has that change actually affected your relationship with it?
I know a genuine Panaphonics when I see it, and look, there's Magnetbox and Sony.
Researchers at Albert Einstein College of Medicine published a new study this week tracking what they call supermovers. People aged 80 and older whose walking speed is markedly faster than average for their age and gender. Only about 6 to 10 adults in their 80s qualify, making it a genuinely exceptional aging phenotype. Supermovers had about half the risk of incident cognitive impairment compared with slow walkers, even after accounting for age and gender. They also reported fewer new diagnoses of Alzheimer's disease or dementia over time. Here's the part that makes this more than just a be healthy, stay sharp sort of finding. The researchers followed some of these participants all the way through death, including brain autopsy. At autopsy, supermovers did not have less Alzheimer's-type pathology than other participants. Levels of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, Lewy bodies, and cerebral vascular lesions were broadly similar between supermovers and non-supermovers. That's the twist. The fast walkers weren't actually avoiding the physical damage that Alzheimer's causes in the brain. They were accumulating the same plaques and tangles as everyone else. They just appeared far more capable of functioning despite them. Researchers call this resilience rather than resistance. Their brains were damaged, their cognition was protected anyway. What drives that resilience isn't fully understood, but the leading theories involve cardiovascular health, neural reserve buildup over a lifetime of movement, and the complex feedback loops between physical activity and brain function that we've been documenting all year on this show. This may be a problem for me as a notoriously slow walker. The supermover designation is for people in their 80s, though, so I still have some time to pick up the pace. The broader and more actionable finding, consistent with everything we've covered this year about walking and brain health, is that movement throughout your life builds reserve that pays dividends decades later. So what's your current relationship with walking specifically? Not exercise in general, but just walking. Has it changed over the last few years?
You're what we call a goner.
New research maps how and why people lie to their partners and finds that good lies damage relationships about as often as selfish ones. The study, covered by Study Finds this week, examined what researchers call prosocial lies. Lies told with benevolent intent to protect a partner's feelings or avoid unnecessary conflict. The quote-unquote good lie category covers things like telling someone their haircut looks fine or saying you're not bothered by something that actually bothered you. So every time you say, I'm fine. Or omitting the truth that you believe would cause pain without serving any purpose. The finding that should make people sit with this more carefully is the damage equivalency. Whether a lie was told to protect the partner or to protect yourself, the erosion of relational trust tracked at roughly similar levels once the lie was discovered or even simply sensed. Good lies damaged relationships about as often as selfish ones. Why? The research points to two mechanisms. First, people are actually reasonably good at sensing inauthenticity, even when they can't consciously identify it. A partner who is consistently being shielded from information they'd want to have often develops a background sense of distance or unease that they can trace back to a specific cause. Because there's no specific cause to find, just a pattern of managed reality. That's an interesting phrase. Second, the liar is the one who decides the lie is good, quote unquote. The person being lied to didn't get a vote on whether they needed the protection. Being managed, even kindly, still involves someone else making decisions about what you can handle. There's a real counterpoint worth naming fairly. A 2026 study published in the Journal of Social Psychology found that many individuals actually preferred comforting or reassuring dishonesty over the harsh truth in certain situations, especially participants who felt their relationship was strained. So the desire to be protected isn't completely imaginary. People sometimes genuinely want to be told things are fine when they actually aren't. The tension is between what people say they want and what actually sustains a relationship over time. If you can't trust the person you're in a relationship with, that doesn't seem like a great sign. Trust isn't just about whether someone will tell you the truth when it matters. It's about whether you believe they're doing so even when you can't check. Have you ever told a lie you thought was protective, but it backfired on you? Or have you been on the receiving end of one?
All I did was tell the truth.
Of course you did, but there's the truth and the truth.
Meanwhile, a new federal law signed this week authorizes shark attack alerts to be sent to mobile phones. They're basically similar to Amber Alerts and severe weather notifications. The law is named Lulu's Law after a shark attack victim. The alerts are confirmed attacks, not just general shark presence, which is a meaningful distinction if you're deciding whether or not you want to get in the water. Mayor Vaughn, though, wants an app to let you know the beaches are still open.
Goodbye. I'm not going to waste my time arguing with a man who's lining up to be a hot lunch.
Rare Pokemon cards worth up to $30,000 were stolen from an arcade in Eagan, Minnesota. Police are investigating. The perpetrators gotta steal them all. The cards included rare holographic editions. The arcade had them on display, which is a decision they might be reconsidering.
You filthy criminals.
A couple was arrested after climbing the exterior of the Empire State Building to reach the top for a marriage proposal. NYPD body cam footage captured the moment they were caught. Climbing the Empire State Building to propose is still significantly better than doing it on a stadium video board, which remains the most pressure-filled proposal format in human history. King cobras are moving to higher elevations on Mount Everest as warming temperatures extend their habitat range upward. Venomous snakes are a genuinely unexpected addition to the list of things to worry about when climbing a 29,000-foot mountain. The list is already pretty long.
I'm not trying to break any records. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. Not to mention the most important reason for climbing a mountain.
And that is?
Because it's there.
That's it for News Side Quests. 3 questions to consider on your holiday weekend. Something you used to own that you now effectively rent and how that's changed your relationship with it. What your current walking situation actually looks like. And a time a protective lie backfired or you were on the receiving end of one. Email me at newsidequest@gmail.com or hit me up in the Substack comments. Happy 4th of July, everyone. See you on Monday.